For generations, mainstream religious institutions have pacified the masses with a highly distorted, sanitized illusion of spiritual warfare. They have sold you a cheap, passive protocol, preaching a doctrine of absolute avoidance. They tell you to isolate yourself from the material matrix, to run away from clubs, from alcohol, from promiscuity, and from temptation. They convince millions that if they just repeat a scripted verbal confession, they are instantly insulated from the dark. But a verbal loophole cannot downregulate a highly advanced frequency weapon, and running away from an enemy never strips it of its power. Avoidance is not salvation. Avoidance is a theological trap designed to keep your biological receiver weak, fragile, and permanently defenseless. Hello and welcome to 6th episode in our Afterlife series here on the Ultimate Enlightenment channel. Today, we seek to finally reveal to you what it really means to tame your biological engine and defeat the lower self. We will enlighten you what it really means to overcome your demons, your lower self based on the blueprints left behind by the ancient masters. The ancient scriptures and hidden mystery schools reveal a far more staggering, confrontational truth. You cannot conquer an enemy you have never faced. True spiritual warfare requires the sovereign mind of King Solomon. Throughout occult history, it is recorded that Solomon possessed absolute dominion over the underworld. He did not run from the monsters. He did not freeze his lips in fear. He systematically summoned the full spectrum of whispering demons and predatory frequencies haunting the lower planes. He forced them to manifest directly within his geometric field, looked them dead in the eye, stripped them of their power, and tamed them. When Scripture states that Solomon used these bound demons to build the temple of God, it is drawing a precise anatomical map. The temple is not a physical building made of stone. The temple is the human body. Solomon conquered the lower matrix frequencies and harnessed their raw, untamed energy to fortify, restore, and rebuild his own physical biology. This is the exact same blueprint executed by the master teacher. Jesus did not avoid the underworld. He possessed absolute dominion over it. He deliberately walked into the brutal, isolated desert, the wilderness devoid of the living waters, a dense plain of raw sin, precisely to draw out his inner demons. He allowed the predatory frequencies of the matrix to manifest, stood immovable in the absolute light of his higher right brain awareness, and walked out completely untouched. To achieve this level of supreme celestial authority, you must undergo the principle of sacred possession. You must look for these monsters, allow them to manifest within your field, and actively exercise yourself, exercise your own demons. True spiritual warfare means you do not drop your frequency into emotional reactivity. When exposed to a toxic environment, you step straight out of your inner cave, walk directly into the valley of death, face the beast, and force the lower animal engine into absolute submission to the divine architect within. To master this physical vessel, you must systematically defeat the 12 monsters of the human simulation. In ancient Greek myth, these are the 12 labors of Hercules. In the cutting-edge frontiers of neuroscience, these 12 monsters are the 12 cranial nerves emerging directly from your brainstem, governing your sensory inputs, biological impulses, and motor functions. To tame your biology, you must hunt down and conquer the specific demonic frequency attached to each cranial nerve. Look at the Lernaean Hydra, the multi-headed beast that represents the trigeminal nerve governing facial sensation and chewing. Every time you try to cut off a toxic habit or addiction using basic left brain willpower, the Hydra sprouts 2 more unchecked mental cravings in its place, paralyzing the soul until you cauterize the root through deep internal awareness. Look at the Nemean lion, representing the facial nerve that dictates pride, ego, and social vanity. Hercules had to choke this lion with his bare hands and wear its skin, meaning you must completely choke out your desperate need for validation within the material matrix before you can wear your ego safely as armor. Most critically, look at Cerberus, the 3-headed dog guarding the gates of hell. This is the vagus nerve, the 20th cranial highway that wanders throughout your entire gut, heart, and reproductive systems. When your spiritual defenses are low, this vital nerve is completely hijacked by biological microorganisms and astral archons, transforming into the predatory spirit of the succubus or incubus sex demon. It projects intense, irrational sexual cravings, unnatural anxieties, and toxic internal whispers directly up into your brainstem, demanding that you surrender your vital life force to satisfy a low-vibrational extraction mechanism. Many people who claim to be enlightened spiritual teachers will desperately encourage you to completely abstain from sex, clubs, or masturbation, warning you with absolute terror that the spirit of the succubus will seize permanent dominion over your soul. They preach a doctrine of total suppression, unaware that a suppressed desire does not die. It simply mutates into a subconscious, venomous parasite that rots the temple from within. Here is the unyielding cosmic blueprint left behind by the ancient masters. To understand how to conquer the succubus frequency, you must look at how Hercules defeated Cerberus, the multi-headed hound guarding the underworld. When King Eurystheus demanded that Hercules capture the beast, the ruler of the underworld, Hades, gave Hercules one absolute condition. He had to tame and conquer Cerberus using his bare hands alone, without relying on any external weapons, armor, or shields. Hercules did not run away from the barking terror, nor did he attempt to destroy it. He walked directly into the absolute depths of the abyss, wrapped his powerful arms around the beast's neck, withstood its snapping jaws, and choked the monster until its raw, wild ferocity subsided into absolute submission. He tamed the demon, dragged it into the light of the upper world, and demonstrated undisputed sovereignty over the gatekeeper of hell. Taming this internal demon is not about spiritual castration or cowardly avoidance. It is the deliberate, calculated execution of sex magic and sacred manifestation. When you harness your sexual energy, whether through conscious union or controlled masturbation, you are tapping into the raw, atomic engine of creation itself. Mainstream teachers tell you to fear this power because they do not know how to handle it. The master blueprint demands that you do not let the succubus frequency extract your life force. Instead, like Hercules choking Cerberus, you seize control of that surging biological voltage with your bare hands, meaning your unassisted, absolute mental willpower. You compress that raw, lower chakra fire, prevent it from scattering into low-vibrational lust, and consciously channel the absolute peak of that kundalini energy upward through the central golden lampstand of your spine to manifest your highest sovereign intentions. This is exactly analogous to King Solomon summoning the terrifying demons of the Gosha. Solomon did not run from them, nor did he allow them to possess him. He used his divine seal to master their frantic, chaotic frequencies, and forced them to haul the heavy stone blocks required to rebuild the temple of the living God. When you master your sexual energy, you are doing the exact same thing. You are capturing the raw, wild beast of your lower animal engine and forcing that intense creative fuel to restore your physical vessel, upgrade your reality, and solidify your empire on the material plane. To achieve this, you must realize that true spiritual evolution does not happen by suffocating your instincts, but by finding the absolute balance between the animal and the higher self. To master a desire, you do not run from it. You satisfy the desire to systematically clear its frantic urgency out of your head. Suppression leaves the mind hyper-focused on what it cannot have, fracturing your consciousness. By satisfying the impulse under total conscious control, you clear the psychological noise and empty the baseline biological craving. You do not satisfy it to slip into addiction, but to quiet the beast, master its current, and tame it. This hyper-advanced execution of spiritual physics is precisely why billionaires, global elites, and generational power players utilize sex magic and masturbation manifestation as a foundational technique to lock in their empires. These high-vibrational manifestation keys have been publicly admitted by major cultural icons. Artist and entrepreneur Azealia Banks has spoken openly on social media about her deep mastery of the occult and utilizing sex magic to protect and manifest her path. Even independent multimillionaire entrepreneurs like Courtney Adelai explicitly teach that your raw orgasmic energy is a literal gateway to organizing the material matrix to secure massive wealth. They do not hide from the lower frequencies. They tame them, ride them, and use them to construct an unyielding temple of terrestrial dominance. Not only do you need to master your own biological engine, you also need to defeat the demons that try hack into your system, viruses and bacteria. This biological hijacking is the exact mechanism utilized by witch doctors, sorcerers, and the shadowy corporate elites of the Matrix. They do not operate through cartoon magic. They utilize advanced biological and physical vectors. When a witch doctor burns specific organic charms, they are releasing toxic microscopic organisms, fungi, and heavy electromagnetic spores into the atmosphere. These external parasites physically attach themselves to your cellular biology. Bacteria and viruses do not enter your system merely to multiply. They enter to plant corrupt, low-vibrational information directly into your genetic operating system. This is literal possession. Once inside, they project biochemical signals that manifest as toxic suggestions, cravings, and automated temptations inside your brain. Look at the mechanics of the HIV virus. It survives by planting corrupt data that explicitly commands your immune system not to attack it. It rewrites your cellular code, giving itself a permanent passport to override your white blood cells. This is why modern medical science found that injecting an HIV patient with resilient white blood cells from an uncompromised person who can naturally fight the virus provides immediate relief. It reintroduces the correct, uncorrupted code to the biological temple. Without mastering the supreme art of overcoming, you remain a defenseless biological terminal in an open warfare environment. Witch doctors, sorcerers, and the parasitic architects of the Matrix will easily bypass your electromagnetic defenses, projecting their toxic charms and disruptive frequencies directly into your energetic field. But you must understand that the modern medical-industrial complex is running a massive psychological operation. Most of the chronic diseases and viral infections humanity suffers from today are not even structurally real in the way you have been conditioned to believe. They were deliberately planted inside your head. Institutionalized science has systematically brainwashed the masses into believing that human biology is fragile, helpless, and inherently flawed. They have convinced you that your own cells are incapable of conquering a virus, and that a synthetic drug is the only god that can save you. This is a profound energetic trap designed to strip you of your biological sovereignty. Here is the unyielding blueprint left behind by the ancient masters. To systematically crush any disease or viral pathogen, you must defeat the enemy at the absolute quantum realm before it ever crystallizes into physical matter. Viruses do not just randomly attack cells. They present themselves to your nervous system as a bioinformational template, a subtle suggestion, a lower vibrational temptation, or a sudden urge to drop your frequency. To break this loop, you must go deeply within. You must ruthlessly know yourself and cultivate a mind so immovable that neither the chaotic noise of the crowd nor the whispering internal demons can easily sway your focus. When you stand as an unyielding gatekeeper and firmly defeat the psychological temptation of that lower frequency, the virus is completely denied the energetic match it requires. It cannot stamp its passport into your system. It cannot rewrite your cellular code. When your consciousness remains in this high-vibrational, dominant state, your white blood cells will instantly identify, hunt down, and dismantle any foreign viral invader with absolute ease. This is not mystical fiction. This is verifiable spiritual physics and advanced biology. It is a documented scientific fact that certain individuals possess an absolute genetic resistance to the HIV virus and other lethal pathogens. While the masses are easily compromised, these individuals possess a biological fortress that completely blocks the viral passport. They are the living proof that immunity is not found in a pill bottle. It is forged when the sovereign mind conquers the quantum frequency of the predator, locking the physical vessel into an unassailable state of absolute health. If you are a chosen one, you must understand why your early life was subjected to heavy witchcraft, biological sabotage, and systemic trauma. It was not a cosmic mistake, and there was no passive guardian angel deployed to shield you from this pain. The Matrix intentionally left you exposed to the raw fury of these dark frequencies to subject you to the ultimate test. You were left to fight so that your soul would be forced to adapt, learn the mechanics of the enemy, and figure out how to actively overcome. The Book of Revelation states, "To him that overcometh will I give a white stone, and in the stone a new name written." In the language of spiritual physics, this white stone is not a literal rock. It represents a highly compressed, purified, calcified, crystalline structure activated within your pineal gland and cellular biology. Every single time you allow a demonic frequency to manifest, withstand its peak temptation, look it dead in the eye, and firmly tell it no, your nervous system undergoes a monumental quantum upgrade. You burn away another layer of the unredeemed animal engine. The more warfare you endure, the more capable you become. The more temptations you dismantle, the denser your spiritual gravity grows. Stop hiding from the darkness. Step into your role as a fully conscious lord of this reality, claim your white stone of absolute authority, master your 12 cranial demons, and rule your temple from a place of unyielding spiritual might.